Hi guys, I'm going to continue reading from Shredderman, Attack of the Tiger. We left off on chapter 13. This was right after Sarge was going to look into who the website was registered to. And Nolan was sweating bullets. Okay, chapter 13, Dirty Disguise. Shredderman.com wasn't actually registered to my mom and dad. It was registered to Shredderman. But Shredderman had used Eve Bird's credit card number. And even though I'd taken all the privacy options, I didn't know how much information a reporter like my dad or a police friend like Sarge could dig up. If Shredderman was going to tag the tagger, I had to act fast. First part of my plan had backfired, and now that a lot of people thought Shredderman was the tagger, I didn't have much to lose. But to pull off the rest of my plan, I was going to need bionic hearing and X-ray vision and an invisibility cloak. Or I was going to have to ditch school. Ditch school? I'd never even thought such a thought. But boy, oh boy, I was thinking it now. It was the only way. I had a lot to do before morning, though. A lot. First step, write an email. One that I'd send to only one address, bixby@bignet.com. I couldn't send it to everyone. That would blow everything. And since I didn't know the tagger's email address, the next best thing was Bubba's. He would tell the tagger. He had to. I got to work on my message. It had to be just right. So I wrote it, and rewrote it, and rewrote it again. And when I was all done, I sat back and read it. The tagger's not cool. He's not sly. He's not funny. He's not smart. What he is a coward. Totally chicken. If he wasn't chicken, he'd do something real, something dangerous. Anyone can tag the side of a building. Big deal. Anyone can spray the inside of a kiddie slide. Whoop-de-doo. But here's something the tagger would never spray. Ivana Voss's car. Why? Because that would take guts. Balk, 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 tagger. You're lame. Would the tagger take the bait? If it was Ryan, would he really spray paint his own mother's car? He'd know it was a trap, but with Bubba and his friends teasing him about the challenge, he'd be pressured into it. At least that's what I was counting on. I saved the email to my draft folder. I couldn't send it yet. Timing was everything. Then I did my homework and went to bed. And even though it was late, I wasn't sleepy. Not one bit. I just lay there in bed, running my plan through my head over and over again. When I was sure Mom and Dad were finally asleep, I got up. I pulled dark sweats over my pajamas. I put my safety scissors into a sweatshirt pocket and wiggled into my shoes. Then I did something I'd never done before. I opened my window, pulled out the screen, climbed through, and jumped. The ground was only about a 4-foot drop, but for a second there it felt like I was flying. I landed like a real superhero, too. Feet steady, hands out. Oh, yeah. I skulked across the street, looking all around. I was smooth. I was quick. The street lights were bright, but I didn't think anyone saw me. I was in sneak mode. Instead of using the sidewalk, I went down the soccer field. Then I crept up to the teacher's parking lot through the bushes. Not a car anywhere, but aha! A yard waste bag was still piled up by the office. I swooped down on them without a sound. Lots were heavy with grass clippings, but I found one full of big, dry leaves that was light. Boom! I threw it over my shoulder. Tip, 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 tip. I tiptoed across the parking lot. The bag was full, but carrying it was easy. Felt like some sort of super Santa. I moved it into the bushes. I untied the bag's drawstrings. I emptied half of the leaves. I had to make room for me. Here's the picture. A totally empty sack would have been easier for sure, more comfortable. But I wasn't doing this for the ease or the comfort. I was doing it to catch a villain. Plus, a boy in a sack does not look like yard waste. It looks like a boy in a sack. When I was done dumping leaves, I started cutting flaps. Flaps that hinged on top. 2 on the bottom for the legs and 2 on the sides for the arms. 1 in front for the face, and inside the face flap, another little 3-inch flap for my right eye, my camera eye. Then I hauled my trash sack disguise back up the hill. I lost a few leaves out of the flaps along the way, but not too bad. I hid my sack behind the other yard waste sacks and looked all around. Had anybody seen me? No. The whole block looked deserted. I crouched by the sacks for a minute just to be sure. Felt weird being at school alone, in the dark. I felt like I'd been beamed up to a distant planet in a galaxy. Only there was my house right across the street. When I left the sack, I ran home. It felt like I was running under negative G's. I was weightless. Across the parking lot, across the street, I was flying. Gravity started working again when I tried to get back into the window. Boy, it took me forever. When I finally got inside, I put my screen back in, set my alarm, and hit the hay. My brain was zooming with doubts. Timing was everything. But how long should I wait? I couldn't send the email too soon. Ryan would have a chance to tag his mother's car in their own driveway. But what if Bubba didn't check his computer before school? What if he didn't call Ryan in time? I'd be ditching school for nothing. But the more I thought about it, the more I convinced myself that my plan would work. I'd gotten same-day action with my Tagger Alert email, and they were probably now on red alert. Plus, Ryan would be more of a big shot to his friends if he tagged his mother's car at school, and it would be easier to cover his tracks. There'd be hundreds of kids to question, lots of suspects. But was I really going to ditch school? Was I really going to hide in the trash sack? Was I really going to? When my alarm buzzed in the morning, I felt like I hadn't slept a wink, but there was no time to snooze. I jumped out of bed. I booted up my computer. I read the email over one last time. Then I clicked on send and crossed my fingers that my plan wouldn't backfire again.